Hello friends and welcome to another video. In this video I'm going to be painting this gorgeous deer for my animal alphabet series, and this is for the letter D. You'll probably notice that I have a very detailed sketch for this particular painting. As this was my first time painting a deer, I really wanted to get the proportions right and all the features in the right place, so I made sure to spend time on the sketch. I'm really jealous of those artists who can just put their paint to the canvas and not have to worry about a sketch at all, but I'm not one of those artists. I really struggle with proportions, so getting the sketch right to begin with is really important in my process. For this particular painting, I started with the background using my typical palette of titanium white, Naples yellow, yellow ochre, raw sienna, burnt sienna, and Mars black. I used various tones of these colours in the background of this particular deer. I noticed in the reference photo that was quite blurry, so I tried to use really big, bold brush strokes in the background and tried to blend them as much as I could. Once I was happy with the background, as you can see, I started off with drawing the darkest areas of this deer's face. Painting these dark areas are really important for my process as they're the most detailed parts of this deer's face, and I feel like it creates an anchor for the painting which I can paint around. I believe I subconsciously start with the eyes and nose mainly because they have a similar texture, as they have a shiny gloss finish to them in comparison to the rest of this deer, which has a furry texture to it, so it's a very different feel when I'm painting those areas. At this point of the painting, I decided to work upwards from the right side of the face, so this involved painting the dark areas of the ear and really filling in those colours. Sometimes I just paint whatever feels right. You would have probably thought that I would have finished painting the left side of the face before moving on to the ear, but sometimes I like to switch things up to keep things fresh. Once I was happy with that first ear, I then decided to paint the second ear, and as I painted that first one and figured out where the darks and lights go, I was able to quickly apply this on the second ear. I then decided that I needed to be a little bit bolder with the body, so you'll now see me fill in this body with this brush and just really block in those areas that need colour. I always have to remind myself not to be too fussy with this stage, as I will inevitably paint over some of these areas again, but having those base colours will really give me a guide when I come to painting them again. I created this painting in 2 sessions. As you can see, I've cleared my palette and I've got similar colours to before, but this time I'm using raw sienna and burnt umber to create the antlers of this deer. I'm making sure to work quickly on this particular aspect of the painting as I want to give that shiny texture, so switching between the darks and lights is really important for this particular aspect. I then repeated the process on the other side of this deer. Normally when I paint animals, I tend to really focus in on the reference and painting everything that I can see. As I was looking for deer reference photos, I really struggled to find a photo that I really liked, so I ended up combining 2 photos. I really liked this photo of a deer, which is the one that you can see here, that was looking directly into the camera and was very still. But he didn't really have very impressive antlers, as he had pretty much 2 straight line antlers, so I decided to combine him with a much more impressive antlered deer. So I stole the antlers off somewhere else. It just goes to show that you need to use your artistic intuition in terms of how you want your final piece to look, even if it's not what you'd normally do. The key thing when adding stuff from your imagination to your paintings is to make them look believable, especially if you're going for realism or as close to life as possible. That's what I tried to do with these antlers, and if I hadn't have told you, you wouldn't have known, and that's the key thing. At this part of the painting, I was just working on the highlights, making sure to capture that fur texture. Working on these details is probably the longest part of my process, as I see where places need to be adjusted. For this particular painting, I decided to deviate from my normal style and actually blend the background in with this deer, and I also used 2 shades of gold to really make this deer pop. This definitely isn't my normal style, but in order to grow in art, it is really important to sometimes experiment and go out of your comfort zone. I also added some navy blue in the darkest areas of this deer to make him pop a little bit more. I hope you've enjoyed watching my process, and be sure to check out these videos.